Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another Spark of Genius Flesh and Blood production. My name is Eric, joined by my co-creator, co-commentator, co-caster, co-compatriot, Rob. And we're going to talk a little bit about a couple cards that might be on your radar, or should be on your radar, that directly impact either positively or negatively the Mechanologist class in the upcoming Bright Lights, depending on how you think about it. So most of it is going to be specifically mech cards with a generic at the end. And we're going to be kind of putting in points that you should consider when when the upcoming bright lights set starts. So
Hmm.
first card we're going to kind of talk a little bit about
Yeah.
is urgent delivery. So the first three cards I'll be talking about, and they really center around items and boosting. So it was unveiled in the Bright Lights article. There's going to be another way of essentially getting items out. I think crank was what they called it.
Yes.
I think it was
Crank.
I think it was the crank mechanic, right?
Crank.
And
Where was
so
it? I'm pretty sure it's called Crank. It was like somewhere down here.
Yeah, the new makes
The
items more
yeah,
playable.
with 30 new items. So we'll
30
preface it
new
with that saying items are going to be
Yes.
big this set. So basically anything with items in it is going to be key.
Yes. So urgent delivery was a little bit on the unplayable side because it's 0 for 4 block 3 was on rate, which is fine, but when it hits, you may put an item from your hand into the arena with cost less than or equal to the number of times you boosted. The issue is you didn't really want to be boosting a lot with a lot of items in your deck because there was no way of actually getting those items out on the field once boosted. Now we have a hero, Tech Levasan here, but Benedict Cumberbatch essentially just says pay 3
Where
and
was he? He was somewhere here. There he is. Yeah.
yeah, right
So
there. So you could play your Evo as if it was an instant. You could play Evos from the Banish Zone. So there's something to believe that there might be some kind of card that allows you to kind of do the same thing with items, specifically mech items, either some kind of Evo equipment or some kind of like ability. But the fact is, if they're printing 30 items, even with the red, yellow, blue color,
mhm.
there's no way that there's not going to be some other way of getting them out, either from grave, from banish, or what have you. So boosting is going to be a lot more prevalent, we feel. So urgent delivery is one of those cards that can easily be stacked on a chain, even at like a boost urgent delivery, and you get a two
Yeah.
cost item out of hand. And essentially, urgent delivery doesn't boost itself, but it benefits for the fact that you'll probably be boosting more in the deck anyways, and because you're boosting more a bit, because you don't care as much about items just being, sent to the abyss here, urgent delivery just lets you play out more in hand, because
Yeah.
drawing items is not always good if you have to take a turn off just to play them. So that's one preface here. So urgent delivery, a card that you might want to watch out for. This is a common, you don't have to like go buy them immediately, but it's one card that we think might be a bit better when
Yeah.
brightness comes.
You're gonna find them anywhere. It's just that if you don't have them, might as well find a way to get them now. Um,
Mhm.
they're not gonna be through the roof or anything,
Scarce.
but yeah.
No.
All right, next.
BIOS update. So this was the Mechanologist card. I did actually try out this card in 1 and 2 in like the 1 copy and 2 copy in the current kind of mech hybrid lists.
Yeah.
The issue is that like a 0 for a +3 block 3 is fine. However, it never vanished an item like cost 2.
Hmm.
Like it's just like it's not that line of text just didn't exist. And this kind of goes with the fact that okay, so now if you're playing more items, there's a higher hit chance, and you actually kind of want BIOS update for that particular strategy. So I think this even more than urgent delivery, I say BIOS update's definitely a card you should like if you want like a Rainbow Flow playset or anything like this. You might want to look at grabbing a playset of these now before kind of more item
Yeah, they are
support
majestic.
gets spoiled. They are majestics. They're just from Dynasty. They're not nothing crazy here. But item with two or cost 2 or less is pretty much it's a lot of them at this
I
particular
think
point.
it might be all of them. At
I
this
think it is
point,
all
it's
of
all
them.
of them. Yeah, there's no
Yeah,
three cost or more item yet, but there
they
might be.
might print one. Yeah, they might print one, but being able to again boost off BIOS update and get an item in this particular case, another banish to a kitchen, another farm to kitchen kind of situation here. So you're
Hmm.
going from the top of the deck to the banish into your field. So again, it's kind of with urgent delivery, but instead it's just going from the boost. And the third card we have here that kind of takes advantage of the fact that you might be boosting more is Pour the Mold, which is all the way back from Arcane Rising that many people just like didn't
Yeah.
remember was a card. It is a rare, and it's a rare for a reason. So the red actually is the only difference between red, yellow, and blue is the cost. So the mech item with cost 2 or less is red, 1 or less is yellow, and then 0 is blue essentially. It essentially just says put it from your hand into the arena. It does have go again, so it's not like you have to use like Spark of Genius. we'll talk a little bit about later. That's essentially your turn. It doesn't have go again. You'd have to use your Achilles to give it another action point. But Pour the Mold has go again, which is kind of nice. And if you boost it, you get to put a Steam counter on it, which is actually super, super nice. So a lot of those kind of cards that allow you to set up your board state, getting another Steam counter on it could be very, very good. So you're thinking things like maybe Techlo Core, any of your like Pounder or something like that, depending on your strategy. It's just a very nice addition and definitely worth the card slot. It still blocks for 3, and it goes into the deck where if you're running more and more items, like we think we will, this one is less so caring about boosting. It's like a nice effect here, but it's more so that you're going to end up drawing a lot more items.
Yeah,
And right now, other than Pour the Mold, there's no way of getting 2 items out of your hand onto the field other than
true.
like this and urgent delivery. But if you have no boost cards, then urgent delivery is not going to get anything because you still have to
And
boost
there's
for
no
that
go
amount.
again on the urgent
There is no
delivery,
go again.
right? So you're
Correct.
stuck to one item basically, just like
And
before.
you'd have to boost before that too to actually get
Yep.
something. Get something. This is 0 cost, I guess. Well,
You gotta play two
boost
zero
zero is
cost
0.
boost cards, urgent delivery, and the fourth card in
No,
your
no,
hand
no.
has to be an item.
Like urgent delivery is saying that you need to equal to the number of times you've boosted this combat chain. So if you don't boost at
Right.
all and urgent delivery hits, you can get Teclacor out
Technicore
essentially.
for free. Yeah.
So which is fine. There's going to be more items, but in this particular case, it is a essentially go wide. If you get something like this turn 0 and you don't get Spark of Genius,
Mm-hmm.
super good on like a 2 item opener.
Yep.
So definitely recommend looking at Pour the Mold for your future mech building needs
Yeah.
and an item
And
more item heavy build.
I'll add as well that the Steam counter is a pretty rare thing to be able to add to items. The only other exception being Plasma Mainline, which I'll cover soon. But adding Steam counters can be actually could actually be like game breaking instead. If the item is good enough, an extra Steam counter is going to be amazing. Like even just adding it to a Teklo core, the extra 2 resources, right, will be amazing. So it's like a third turn of 2 more resources. And I'm sure we'll see
Yeah,
other items where that might just come on with one Steam counter, but they have like an amazing ability. So if this can add a second Steam counter and double the ability, it'll make the item kind of like twice as valuable. So I think
that's
we'll see
fair.
a lot more Steam counter shenanigans coming up. So this will fit right into that. Okay, so the first of my cards is, of course, the mascot of the channel, Spark of Genius. No bias or anything like that.
Nope.
This card is probably one of Dash's best cards currently, and it's only going to get better with the next set. Being able to tutor out any item from your deck and then potentially draw a card if you've boosted is, basically as good as it gets. So if there are items, so I mean, first of all, it can target your 0 cost items for free. So you can boost, play Spark of Genius, not pay for it for free, get out your Teklo Core or whatever 0 cost items might come out, and then draw a card and arsenal that card. So it's very handy. It does everything you want in a deck. It's yellow, blocks 3 as well. If you don't have this card, you should definitely get some because for a class that centralizes around items, this is basically the only way to get them out of your deck and to pick the ones you want to get out of your deck. So, yep, really good card. Enough said, I think, about this one. Unless you want to add something, but it's just
No, it's the goat. It's one of the
it's
best
the
cards in the
goat.
game, honestly. I don't know. I don't know
Absolutely.
how else to put it.
All right, next we've got the spoiler card that we released for Dynasty, the Plasma Mainline. Unfortunately, hasn't seen any play since it was released,
No.
but we do think that tying back to the Pour the Mold reasoning, if you can add Steam counters to items that don't really have many or don't have ways of getting more of them throughout the game, just like the Teklo, the induction chamber, which you can reload, right? Some items just don't have the ability to get more Steam counters, so being able to play them onto the field with an extra one could be game breaking. And Plasma Mainline could start out as your item of choice for Dash. And so if there, you could have it out there. If you're not focusing on a pistol build, this could be probably even better than induction chamber because you can get more Steam counters. I think it's 5 more times. So
Mhm.
yeah, really good item to start with, I think. And if there are more items that rely on Steam counters, and I think most of them should, this will be a staple for Dash. I don't really see this not seeing play if there's Steam counters everywhere. So yeah, this could be a very good card. Right now it's super cheap, probably less than $1, so probably worth getting them.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, the last one I have is kind of a bit of a weird one. It's the first and only generic card on the list. and that is the meeps, the mischievous meeps. So, the reasoning behind this card is if you're facing a lot of decks that have items, like let's say mech becomes the deck to beat, and you need a way to stop them in their tracks, well, mischievous meeps could be a good card to steal the items that they have in play. It does have to hit, but what you could do is you can kind of end your chain with mischievous meeps after you've attacked a few times with boost cards and they've already blocked a bunch. So it could be like a guaranteed way of getting an item, or at least a very annoying card to deal with if you've already blocked a bunch. And you can steal Plasma Mainline, you can steal anything that costs 2 or less. It, of course, won't work for items that cost 3 or more. So if there are items that get released that like, cost 4 or 5, this won't have any effect. But as it stands, and I think for most items, this should be able to work on basically anything besides a select few, maybe Evo ones that are super strong. So yeah, and it's a one cost go again, so you could fit it in basically anywhere in your chain. It only blocks 2, so that's the only thing that it doesn't really have going for it. But I think it's a good card.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think the one prevailing factor that we should probably mention is that when we're talking about Steam counters, the idea is that each Steam counter is worth about 2 points of value, right? So when you talk about Teklo Core, Steam counter gives you 2 resources. When you think about induction chambers, Steam counter lets you go again on the pistol. Pistol swings for 2,
2 damage.
etc., etc. Yeah, so it's generally like I would equate each Steam counter as being 2 points of value. So for a card like Plasma Mainline, being able to essentially extract 10 value, the sooner that you can do it in a game and get that value, the better. The better you can snowball the game. So, and I don't think that's really how it's thought about at the moment, just because like if you don't run that many items that can take advantage of it, like generally you'll start out with induction. You'll play like a couple more items in the game, like Teklo Pounder, for example. If you gain a Steam counter on Teklo Pounder, you get one more +2. Again, the prevailing idea is that it's 2 per. So I think that this Plasma Mainline, out of everything on the list, has the most potential to snowball in Bright Lights as being like a really good core card and be able to extract a lot of value, especially with the right support. So this is like kind of the if you want a cold foil set of these, it's probably the best time to pick these up because they're a little bit cheaper now than they might be if this card gets spoiled to be very good. Maybe our next spoiler is going to be like something related to Mainline. Anyways,
Maybe.
point being is that not saying we have one, I'm just saying that it could be. But
Yeah. Nothing
I think
confirmed yet.
I think out of all these, the Mainline is probably like the big one to watch. And with that, I think these are the cards that maybe you want to pick up, cards to look at. And if you like this kind of content, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. We all here at Spark of Genius, very excited for Bright Lights coming up.
Yeah.
We're gonna have more content going forward when the set is being released for preview season, of course. And with that, from wherever you are watching in the world, have a good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. Bye for now.